Now we will continue with our second keynote presentation. It's my pleasure to introduce Haiyan Song from the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Professor Song's keynote title is A Critique of Tourism Studies, a Large Language Model. Please welcome Professor Haiyan Song.
All right, good morning, everyone. Following the fantastic presentation from Mrs. Ho, actually I will turn my presentation to tourism research. So it's a completely different topic. So instead of saying to each other between us, we have done a very good job over the last, say, 30, 40 years in tourism research. Actually, today, I'm looking at tourism research from a critical perspective, i.e. to provide some thought with a view to invoking your thinking or reflection of what we have been doing over the last 40, 50 years. As an economist, my presentation may be biased, right? So if I offended anyone in the audience, please, I beg your forgiveness. So basically, I'm looking at the tourism studies over the last 40, 50 years using a large language model. Although I'm not actually an expert in smart tourism, but we have been using smart tourism research tools in our research, one of which is to use large language model to develop tourism satisfaction index for destinations. So this actually is a new research direction of mine. So yes, actually, I would like to continue yesterday's discussion. Remember yesterday, the audience asked a question. We have facing many problems in research and education in tourism. But at the same time, we have more than 300 journals publishing tourism studies and research in the field. Every year, the key journals, including Professor Buhali's and FEFC, Optimus, and other journals, receive more than 2,000, 3,000 submissions, right? So what does this tell us? On the one hand, we are facing challenges. For example, when I talk to academics in other disciplines, including business, management, economics, and so on and so forth, these are the things they criticize us. The first is lack unified tourism theories. Tell me, what are the profound tourism theories has impact our knowledge transfer to other disciplines, right? There may be few I can think of tourism area life cycle theory or models developed by Richard Butler in the 1980s, 90s. But the model itself actually is borrowed from production life cycle theory with a new dimensions I added into the model. There may be a staged authenticity theory that we heard about it, but again, it is based on mainstream authenticity theory, okay, with a twist related to tourism. So we actually are criticized for not developing theories that generate impact. The second criticism is that there's diverse methods with inconclusive research findings, and that is because we are interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary. We're using different methods or models to looking at the same issue. For example, why tourism travel? What are the factors influence tourist travel or choice of destinations? If you're looking from the economic perspective, you are mainly looking at the economic factors. But if you're looking at it from a marketing perspective, you may looking the factors that influence the tourist choice as a result of branding and marketing, right? So the methodologies are quite diverse, and the conclusions can be sometimes contradictory. And also we are criticized for bias in data analysis. I remember when I started tourism research, academics, because they want to convince tourism is an important industry. It made contributions to GDP and also to society. Therefore, we advocate tourism positive influence or positive contribution to the economy, to the society, and so on. But at the same time, ignore the potential negative impact of tourism will bring, such as environment. So actually, tourism contribute about flying from place to places actually contribute about 8% of green gas emission, right? And also waste generated through tourism also contribute to negative impact of tourism. And also perpetuating inequalities because of we, emphasize the importance, overly emphasize the importance of tourism, and sometimes we create inequalities because when the major investment coming in, because our research demonstrates tourism will contribute to the economy. When the investment coming in from other countries, outside of tourism destinations, there's economic leakage, right? So actually the profit generated do not necessarily benefit the local communities, right? So generate some type of inequality and also neglect of local community, which is a same thing. And sometimes we will also criticize by other academics saying, you are guys actually looking the research among yourself. You talk to yourself too much, right? You don't actually communicate much with outside of tourism discipline. How many of us frequently attending marketing conferences, economic conferences, and maybe social science conferences? Perhaps not many, although some of us do. And we also criticize for inward looking. In education, same thing, right? So we are facing challenges in terms of, especially after COVID-19, we do not have enough demand for our study programs. Economic downturn and crisis as a result, and also industry consolidation, because now the industry are demanding for fundamental skills, analytical skills, critical thinking skills, and so on and so forth. So there's less demand at the university level for education programs. We have seen this. In China, many universities closed their tourism hospitality programs. Other countries, there's mergers between business school and hotel and tourism schools, and also the program enrollment has been shrinking, right? So these actually are the reality, and also curriculum development is lagging behind in terms of the current demand, and also low quality of students. Sometimes we complain our students' quality is not as good. They cannot do numbers, right? So this is some of the issues we are facing. So then as economists, we always use a theoretical framework to explain what has happened. So here I would like to use a layman problem theory, which was developed by an economist called George Akerlof in 1970s. As a result, he won a Nobel Prize based on his layman problem theory, or sometimes called information asymmetry theory. So the layman problem describes a market situation where the presence of low-quality products, this is called lemons. I don't know why he called the low-quality products lemons, and drive out high-quality products, peaches, due to information asymmetry between buyers and sellers, right? So the issue is sellers possess more information about the product quality than buyers, i.e., the people who sell products knows how good, how bad their product is in terms of quality, where the buyers, sellers know, but the buyers do not know right? So this is the issue, like a used car market. Normally, if we sell our used cars, tend to be maybe the car has some sort of problem, so you want to sell it and buy a new car. But actually, the buyers, sellers know the quality, but the buyers don't. And therefore, the result, adverse selection problem. The buyers unable to distinguish high-quality goods, peaches from low-quality goods, lemons assume average quality. This drives down the prices because nobody or less people buy the used cars on the market. That's the result of market failure. As high-quality goods disappear, the market becomes dominated by lemons, price plums, which will lead to the complete market collapse. This is the scenario of the theory it's trying to tell us. So in recognizing tourism research is not a market activity, right? I have to emphasize tourism is not, tourism research is not pure market activity. Sometimes it do indicate the money, where the money goes, go to the major publishers, and as academics, we volunteer our job to review articles for journals, and we get nothing, right? But then someone benefit. We also assume information asymmetry in the publication world, i.e., the information flow freely from one discipline to another discipline. So this is one important assumption. Assuming there are no barriers to information flows among academic disciplines, because we can always cite publication from other journals, right? Marketing, economics, and business studies, and so on and so forth. So we assume there's no barrier to entry. We can search the publication record freely and obtain the information. And I also use citation of publication studies are considered to be a recognition of publication quality and reputation. This is a controversial measurement. I know many people say, no, citation does not reflect quality and reputation. If you see this to Demetrius Bahalis and Fefsi and a few other highly cited scholars, they would disagree, right? So yes, at least this actually indicate some kind of recognition of your research. I.e., it's bad research or good research, people cite you, reference you, right? It is kind of reputation. Mostly it's positive reputation. As an economist, econometrician, and statistician, we probably are responsible for creating such matrices, measures, indices. But we do think those, to some extent, reflect the quality and reputation of the studies, although this may not be a universal agreement. Adverse selection also occurs when researchers publish their studies in more reputable journals. When your paper being rejected, you know your paper is good quality, especially from other disciplines, economics, management, statistics, and so on and so forth. If you submit to Tourism Hospitality Journal, you got rejected. And the reason being either because of lack of theory or other reasons given by the reviewers, which may not actually reflect what they are doing, then those people will select not to publish in your discipline. So the analysis of information asymmetry is a key. So I will actually focus on the asymmetry using citation as a measurement, using large language models. We select articles published by all tourism journals, no exception. All tourism journal articles are selected. Or tourism articles published in other journals as well. So this is actually, this diagram shows the source of data and the time period covered, and also tourism articles, number of tourism articles over 84,000, articles citing tourism studies, including tourism articles published in tourism journals citing the tourism studies, and also other journals published articles citing tourism studies. As you can see, the trend, of course, is increasing. If you look tourism articles, i.e. articles published in tourism journals, which represent by the blue line, you can see the trend is increasing. And also mainstream articles published in Q1 journals, excluding tourism journals, and also cited by tourism journals, which is a green line, right? Increasing but dropped somehow in 2016 or 17, and also all mainstream articles published in Q1 TRC journals and also cite tourism studies increased significantly, exponentially in recent years. Now I'm going to present a few diagrams. Sorry, but this is a little bit, too much figure and diagrams, and that's what we do as economists. So you can these two diagrams actually is quite straightforward. If you look at the first diagram on the left, on your left, you can see 3 lines. The first line is the ratio of articles from mainstream journal in the reference, in terms of number of references, and also the ratio of article from mainstream JRC Q1 journals in the reference in tourism articles, right? And also you can see the number of references has been increasing. Especially if you look at the yellow line, has been increasing from 1969 to 2024. Actually, in the past, we normally publish article, we only have 20 or 10 references. But now you have to have 60 or 70 references. And this is probably an indication of expansion of knowledge, but at the same time, perhaps reflect other issues. And also, on the right-hand side, you can see which are the journals, mainstream field, actually referencing tourism publications. You can see top disciplines cited by tourism research cited other journals, which include actually social science discipline, with 25% in business studies, 13% from management science, right? So actually tourism, when they're looking for theoretical, methodological support, they go to those journals, right? So mainly business studies and also management science, because in many universities, tourism is a management discipline. And also, this is a diagram. These two diagrams shows the other journals citing tourism studies. You can see, no matter which type of journal you're looking at the JRC citation or JRC Q1 citations, actually other journals actually increasingly citing tourism studies. What does that mean? This means actually other disciplines pay a greater interest in tourism studies, i.e. in what we do, right? So the number of publications in other disciplines citing tourism studies actually has been increasing. And also the main area, subject areas that cite tourism studies, including business, management, environmental studies, psychology, and so on and so forth, right? So this is another very encouraging trend. As a tourism academics, we should be happy about this, because there's a positive spillover effect of our study influencing other disciplines. But this is only tell us the citations, right? It does not tell us whether our theory has influenced other studies or other journals only quote tourism studies for evidence to support what they do in their field, right? So, right, and the next diagram also shows other journals citing tourism studies. This is slightly different. The number of citations of tourism studies cited by other journals increasing significantly between 2020 and 2000 to 2020, indicating a growing contribution to tourism research to other fields, right? Actually, this is similar to the previous diagram. Among all non-tourism journals, business studies, management science journals saw the fastest growth in terms of citing tourism publications, but there's a sharp drop in 2021. Later I will talk about this. In terms of citation asymmetry, remember early on I assumed there's a free flow of information from tourism area to other areas, right? So if this is the case, then if we say citation or information symmetry is symmetric, then we will probably say there's a good interaction between us and also other disciplines. But these two diagrams, what basically these two diagrams tell us is that in early stages, so actually this is how we calculate these two diagrams is we use the citations for non-tourism journals citing tourism published studies minus tourism articles published in tourism journals, and we get absolute value. So if the value is greater than 1, as in 0, then there's a positive spillover effect from tourism to other discipline. If less than 0, means actually we borrow series and method from other discipline. In early stage, actually we probably cited more often of other disciplines than other disciplines citing tourism studies. But then this trend, if you look at the second diagram, there's a drop in around 2021, 2020. So this, again, is positive information for us that we do influence other studies in terms of our research, because other fields pay much attention to our tourism studies. And I also created information asymmetry index, basically using 3 ratios. Ratio 1, R1, is the number of tourism articles cited by other journals, right? So a tourism journal, a paper cited by other journals, a paper published in other journals, and then divided by total number of articles published in tourism journal. Basically, we want to standardize. And R2 is the number of articles published in non-tourism journals cited by tourism journals. So we're looking at the 2 directions, and then divided by the total number of articles published in tourism journals. And I calculate R3, which is R1 divided by R2. What does that mean? R3 mean? If R3 is less than 1, suggests a net inflow of non-tourism knowledge to tourism field, right? Less than 1. Greater than 1 means a net inflow of tourism knowledge to other, or outflow to other field, right? You look at the dashed line, dashed red line, you can see from 2015 before, actually, there's R3 is less than 1, indicating we are using tourism academics as referencing more of publications from other disciplines. Because at that time, 20, 30 years ago, we tried to borrow reference theories, methodologies from other disciplines. But then there's a turning point. In 2027, actually, there's a positive net outflow of tourism knowledge to other fields, i.e. we contribute more to other disciplines than the other way around. Okay? Makes sense, right? When I started the research in tourism, I borrowed a lot of theories and methods from economics. Perhaps Dimitri's marketing person borrowed a lot of theories from marketing literature. And the FEFC probably borrowed strategy research from other disciplines as well. At that time, I actually pay a lot of attention, making a great reference of other disciplines and borrow them or use them to support our study, our research. But on 2027, there's a change of trend. So my question is, all right, before I make a reference in terms of why this trend has changed, our study also look at the theories in tourism research. We do not actually do the text analysis yet because this is only beginning of our research. And we can see the number of, the number of theories in tourism articles have risen from a very low base in the 1970s, 1.4, to actually many in recent years. The top 10 disciplines have provided 93% of theories for tourism studies and 25% from psychology, 20% from sociology and cultural studies, followed by marketing, economics, management, science, and so on, i.e. actually where these theories are coming from, right? So this actually indicate which areas we reference most in terms of borrowing theories from other disciplines. So yesterday we touched upon this issue. Are we obsessed with theory or theoretical contribution in your study? Right? If you submit papers to many of the journals, one of the reasons if your paper got rejected is lack of theory or lack of theoretical contribution, right? And also, because we are studying from different perspectives, and the theoretical interpretation are different. For example, in economics, when we use theory, we use models, right? Econometric models. And the models will normally include the dependent variable and influencing factors. We call them causal relationships. But in management science or tourism studies, you're using structural equation models, right? So the theoretical interpretation of structural models, you have to have a diagram showing the flows of causal relationships, and you test it using a certain method, right? But then the reviewers and also even the editors, if they are not familiar with other disciplines, and they probably will reject your paper because you do not express your theory in the way they are familiar with, which is not fair, right? So this is something that we have to address. And also the methodology is equally important in my view, because we know any reliable theory, or if you want to test or convince people believe your theory, and the theory has to be developed using robust, reliable method. If the method is not robust, not reliable, the theory you proposed will not be reliable as well, right? People will easily refute your theoretical framework if you use a wrong methodology or inappropriate methodology, because the theory will allow you to verify and also provide reliability of your study. And also it is objective. Method help minimize bias, allowing researchers to draw objective conclusions about tourism phenomenon. And also methodology allow you to compare your study with others, right? So using established method allow you to for comparison across different studies, a destination and time period, which actually is kind of a verification of your theoretical framework. And reliable method, you know, normally give you credibility of your study. And also we need to innovate of methodologies to be able to test the theory. So in summary, methods are the foundation of tourism research, ensuring the results are accurate, meaningful, and useful for decision-making and further study. This actually is just a slide showing that in Nobel Prize in economics, although many of the prize was awarded to the theory development, but there's a number of studies people actually win the Nobel Prize because they developed a method. Yeah, for example, in the 1969, Regana, Fisher, and John Tinbergen, their contribution is to develop and apply the dynamic model for analysis of economic process. And for example, in 2003, Engel and Granger, these two economists actually developed a method that allows us to test for equilibrium relationships between economic systems, and also method analyzing economic time series with common trend, and so on and so forth. This is only a few. Many of the Nobel Prize winners, if their contribution is a theory, but if you look at behind the theory development, there's a very sound, reliable methodology behind it. Okay? So, to conclude, I have the following reflections. As I said earlier, I raised the issues, but I'm not necessarily providing solutions or conclusions because I'm not sure at this moment, and the study is continuing. And the conclusion can only be drawn when we analyze all these tens of thousands articles in terms of the content, and then draw a conclusion from there. At this moment, we'll only look at the citations, which is, first step. So the first reflection is how many theories has been developed by tourism researchers that reflect research that affected research in other disciplines? Okay, I will ask you to think about it. So if we talk marketing, economics, and then people will say, so yeah, we use our method from our own discipline, but we probably not use your theoretical framework in our studies. Or there may be such theories. I'm not aware, but there may, I'm sure there are. And the current indication is that tourism research mainly borrows theories from other disciplines, not vice versa. But then why other journals reference tourism? Early information indicate actually other disciplines citing tourism studies mostly seeking for support, empirical support of their study, right? This is the early indication. So further analysis is needed to find out studies in other fields cite tourism research. Why? They citing tourism research mainly for empirical evidence or theoretical support. I think that's most likely is a former. But this is not actually definitive conclusion. We need to actually look at this even further. The turning point of information symmetry index since 2007 may indicate tourism research as a field of study has matured and become more confident with outward spillover effect, i.e. we no longer looking for theoretical support from other disciplines. We are more confident. We have done the work, actually. We are confident that we will make major contributions to the discipline or to practice. Or tourism research has become a little more inward-looking. What do you think? We are talking between ourselves too much? We are not communicating to other disciplines? Remember yesterday, Professor Salman Park raised an issue. I responded saying that nowadays, tourism students do not study economics, statistics. Finance, yeah, finance, accounting, they have a subject, but then it is very basic, right? So we're probably a little bit insulated from this mainstream discipline. Therefore, they only look at tourism research, tourism publications, not looking for other disciplines in terms of theory and methodology, because they probably have a difficulty in understanding what other people has done. I'm not sure. This is either or, right? And also something else. So the research is still ongoing. I'm going to continue this line of study, and we will update you with further result. I think my time is up. 3 minutes. Okay, I think I can conclude from here. I probably used too much time of Mr. Ho's time. Thank you very much.